loved it. It was great. I work for Danske Bank, so I'm part of working on the nHack programs. I'm kind of an internal guest, but it's great to see the process that has happened over the last 3 months, but that the companies have been in acceleration in Shanghai. And it's 6 completely different companies now that they were 3 months ago. So I think this just really shows that nHack is onto something when it comes to get the companies into the Chinese market and get in contact with new, whether it's manufacturer partners or potential investors.
So you were there when you saw when they first got brought into the program.
Yes, so we are partnered on the program. So when we had the launch back in September, that's where the 6 companies were brought to Shanghai and sort of kicked off their acceleration. And we've been following them very closely the last 3 months. And now, having the pictures today, we can clearly see that there has been quite a tremendous development. And especially, for instance, like a company like Viral, 3 months ago, they didn't have a product. They haven't sold any products. Now they have, simultaneously with having a very successful Kickstarter campaign, they also managed to set up their production. So I think in many ways, this sort of first cohort of the nHack really shows that this is the first cohort. So the plan is that from end of February, after Chinese New Year, in 2018, we will kickstart 3 new programs. So still one in Shanghai, being both general but also focusing on ocean tech, like an ocean tech center. And then we will have one in Beijing, smart cities and AI. And then we will have Shenzhen purely focusing on hardware. So it's going to be interesting to see how we can scale nHack in that perspective as well.
So these major areas, you said smart city, AI, big data, and VR, AR I saw. Is there a reason why you guys focus on these big kind of trends?
Well, the thing is that's actually, we're a bank, right? So we're a universal bank and are part of this program because we have a special focus on startups. We can see that is the direction. Businesses in general are becoming younger and they are disrupting the old dusty ones like ourselves. So we need to have really a finger on the pulse in relation to what direction it goes. So this is sort of a third section of our already commitment to the startups in the Nordics. We're helping them with building up their businesses in the Nordics. We're helping them with tailored business services to them, to this segment. And now this is sort of the third section in relation to helping them going abroad. There's been a lot of focus on the West. Now we're shifting towards the East because we can see there's a lot of potential there. But the startup...
Specifically China, though, you think that... Do you think that China is kind of one of the priority markets for European startups to come in?
I don't think if you ask startups in general, they don't say that. I think in Sweden, they say about 40% say that China is a preferred market. But in general, people don't know what's going on in China. They knew about a lot of the production, growth over the last couple of decades, but that China is so front runner. I think investments in fintech, for instance, overgone the US investments. And people don't generally know that. They think about Silicon Valley and the US if you want to expand. So I think for the startups to get awareness about what is happening in China and also the understanding that if they want to acquire the right talent for the future, not only the risk capital or sort of the potential customers, but if you want to get the best talent as well for your companies, you need to look to China as well.
Yeah.
So I think then nHack is a quite unique for the Nordics, but important partner for the startups to partner up with to get into China.
Are there any major difficulties or obstacles that you see for, especially the European startups coming into China? Besides not really knowing about China too much.
Well, I think people always talk a little about the culture barriers. I don't think they are that problematic. I think, for one, I think in general, Western companies have been more global, so understanding culture differences is part of the toolbox. And also, Chinese educated Chinese companies have become quite global as well, right? So the culture differences are not that big anymore. I think on the technical side, obviously, there's a lot of infrastructure that we are used to use outside of China, like Google and Facebook and all those kind of things. And you have to have a different mindset on doing your sort of daily communication across those borders, right? Because it's simply not possible.
You know, interesting. You mentioned fintech. Is that kind of a portfolio? Is there going to be companies in that kind of area that you guys are going to be looking into in the next couple batches?
Yeah, that's a typical question being a bank, right? But this is actually, as a starting point, this is for all startups. So we're interested in scaling all startups. We want to have a long-term relationship with them, and we want to find a scalable version of supporting them in the beginning. So obviously, when the fintech vertical is getting up and running, that's further in the future. It's probably going to be Hong Kong in 18. Let's take it. This is a learning process. nHack is a startup. It's a new way for us as a old universal bank to work towards this segment. So I think it's all about testing and trialing some things and learn and then evaluate as we go.